Everybody, I am back today with a fun video for Brutus Monroe. We are going to play with some gloss stock. So if you've never used gloss stock before, it is this fabulous paper that works like a certain alcohol ink paper that starts with a Y. But this paper is really budget friendly, and it comes in these small sheets that are perfect for card fronts. I have a piece of gloss stock. I have a little Tim Holtz blower thingy, and I have chosen some alcohol inks that are in a bunch of different greens and blues and golds. And you can see here that it works. This paper works just like that other paper that starts with a Y that's really expensive. And this is a much better budget-friendly option, and I love it. So I used this on this gloss stock. I used it on another project last month. And after I had played with it, I die cut it and used it for letters on a 12 by 12 scrapbook page, and it die cut beautifully. It was gorgeous, and I had so much fun with that one that I decided to make another panel. This is going to be for a card. Today we're going to do our background with this gloss stock, and then we're also going to go ahead and do some no-line watercoloring, which I thought would be super fun. And we're creating this card for Brutus Monroe's monthly challenge, which is hosted in their Facebook group. I'll link the Facebook group below. I will also link up all the different Brutus Monroe products I used. My alcohol inks are a large variety of different companies. So I have some that are Ranger, I have some that are Altenew, I have a couple mixatives. I find that for most alcohol inks, the only thing you have to worry about is how they smell, because some can smell pretty nasty. So I tend to stick with Altenew inks or Ranger inks because those are the less smelly ones. Other brands work just as fine. There's no problem with them. They all work the same as far as I can tell, and in what I have used. The biggest thing for me is that some of them tend to be like really pungently smelly. So I try to stick with Ranger and Altenew because I'm not a fan of smells. I don't know if you guys have ever known that about me. I don't really like smells, pungent smells. So here I am finishing this up. We have a little bit of green and a little bit of gold. And then I did add some blue for my project. And how cool is this? I love this gloss stock. I love how wonderful, like, the alcohol inks just move. They just do their thing. They're like amazing. It is only $7 for 10 sheets. And so if you don't know, just if you think that's a lot, go look up the price for the other kind of paper to use with alcohol inks. That's all I'm saying. So it is you get 10 sheets, and it is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch panels. And look how awesome. So I had so much fun. I just kept playing. I love how forgiving alcohol inks are, because if you don't like something, you just add more, or you add the blending solution and then you add less. I let it kind of move around. You always get different looks. Like the more you blow, the more you add different things. It's really, really just, I really like to play with alcohol inks, and I'm super excited. I was so excited when I got to play with this, and I kind of figured out what it was for and how to use it. So once I have my panel the way I like it, I'm just going to go ahead and set it aside to dry. And again, if you are a scrapbooker, think about die cutting these. These panels are, I die cut it a title. There's enough room here. So you've got 4 1/4 and a 5.5 inches. When I did a 12 by 12 layout, I was able to die cut my entire title and some embellishments to go along with it. So you would have plenty of space on one panel to die cut for a scrapbook layout and get a really cool effect. The next part of my card today is going to be some no-line watercoloring. So what I have here is some of my just white cardstock, the thickest white cardstock you have on hand, the white cardstock that you love to add water to. That's the white cardstock you want to use for this panel. I am going to stamp this gorgeous stamp with some Distress Oxide ink in Antique Linen. So this stamp set is called Botanical Background, and it is such a pretty stamp set. So it's really kind of detailed and floral and lovely. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this multiple times with my Antique Linen ink. I want to be able to see the design. So I have to stamp this as many times as I need to be able to see it. You might not be able to see it on video. I'm not sure how it's going to go, but I need to be able to see all the different details so I can color it. So I have here my Stick and Stamp pigment palette, and I have chosen a bunch of different colors of aqua pigments, and I have a water brush here. And what I am going to do is watercolor these flowers. In addition to my water brush, I also have a couple of really tiny small paintbrushes. I'm going to use all 3 of these because that way I'll be able to get into those teeny tiny little spaces. Now I know on camera this looks like a big blob of yellow, right? But that's all going to disappear. Again, I just stamped until I could see all of the detail that I wanted to color. So I'm going to go ahead in with the water brush and also those 2 tiny paintbrushes and a bunch of different aqua pigment colors. All the colors that I used will be in the description box below for reference to go along with your stash of aqua pigments, or so you can do a little shopping and grab some. So aqua pigments are like a liquid watercolor. So they are very pigmented. They're gorgeous on their own. I love them for splatters and scrapbook pages. I love them for doing projects like this where I'm watercoloring. I love them for backgrounds. They are so much fun to play with. So versatile, so many things you can do with them. But I thought it would be fun just to paint with them today. For me, I like to paint all the same color at the same time. So you could put multiple colors on this pigment palette without a problem. I like to color all of my greens, then I like to color all of my turquoise, then I like to color all of my blues. That's just my personal way of coloring, and I am like that when I color with anything. So if I'm coloring with my Zig markers, if I'm coloring with my alcohol markers, I kind of color one color at a time. Once I had all of the green done, now I'm coming in with some of my turquoise and blue. And this is where you're going to see me use those tiny brushes to get to get into all of the tiny little details in the stamp. Usually start with the aqua pigment at full strength. And then I come in with the tiny little brush and do the lines. And then I come in with the water brush and I kind of just pull the color from the lines into the rest of the image. I find that works the best. That gives me that watercolor look. It also helps in making sure that none of that Antique Linen Distress Oxide ink is going to show in my finished product. So we have these nice dark lines where you can see the stamp and the details on the stamp, and then the larger sections are more watered down and give it that kind of light and dark look. Now here comes the super fun part. I've colored all of the leaves and they are completely dry. This is very important. Completely dry, bone dry. And now I am coming in with the gilded aqua pigment, and I am putting some gold accents onto this panel. So it might be hard to see in the video, but at the end of this, we'll have a close-up and you'll really be able to see. By doing this, I'm adding gold, these gold accents, I'm adding them on top of my watercolor panel. Now, if I kept coming in with more water, or if I kept coming in with the gold and did layer and layer and layer of gold, after a while, the gold aqua pigment will activate that blue or green paint. But if you're going over something just one time, and you'll see here, like I'm just adding little accents, the gold will stay on top of the blue and green aqua pigment. And you'll see in the close-ups that you can very obviously see the gold. So by not working it too much, by just adding a little bit right on top, that will keep it from mixing. And so the gold will sit right on top. And I absolutely love how this looks. See on the video, but in a second, I'm going to pull the panel up and you'll really be able to see in the light how those gold accents work. My finished card panel turned out, or my finished card for this video turned out so pretty. So here I'm kind of showing you right ahead. You can see how I added those accents and how it looks when it hits the light. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So once I had that completely dry, then I made a mess. So I wanted to add some white splatters. And for me, that means I need some white acrylic, heavy body white acrylic paint, watered down, and then I can just splatter, and that is my preferred method of splattering with a fan brush. So I'm just going to go ahead and give this panel some white splatters, and then once I had this done, I went ahead and created a card using that gloss stock and using this no line watercoloring panel. And you can go ahead and see that here at the end. All the close-ups, all that gorgeous, the gold, the white splatters. It turned out amazing, and I love this project. If you want to play with some green and some gold today, or this month, you can head over and join the challenge in the Brutus Monroe Facebook group. If you want some of these gorgeous products, you can find those linked in the description box. Thank you so much for being with me here today, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye.